Good morning, and welcome to the weekly multi-platform service of Tri-County Unitarian Universalists based in Summerfield, Florida. We acknowledge that we occupy the ancestral, traditional, and contemporary lands of the indigenous Florida peoples. I'm Tim McCusker, today's service leader, and we are glad to have our minister, Reverend Kristina Spaude, leading worship today. Hello to our members and friends, and a special welcome to those who might be visiting us for the first time. Unitarian Universalists are united not by a creed of shared beliefs, but by a covenant of shared values. We celebrate that we do not need to think alike to love alike. It is our respect and encouragement of each other's diversity of thought that truly binds us together. For the curious and for the seekers, Unitarian Universalist values and covenant may be found on your order of service and at our website, triuu.org. Our newsletter can also be found there under News and Events. We have announcements, but first, a non sequitur. Will you place your phone on mute? Please celebrate rain. Are you curious about Unitarian Universalism or interested in learning more about Tri-County Unitarian Universalists? Join Reverend Kristina and Helene Kirschbaum for our New to UU class this Tuesday from 10 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. To register for the class, talk with Helene after the service. And please be advised that Ken Pond is videotaping, photographing, and recording portions of today's service. If you prefer not to be included in the final footage or photographs, please notify Ken so that he can be aware of your preference. As we now begin the service proper, will you recite our vision statement? Please join with your voice as we recite together, "We will be an influential voice for progressive religious values in a diverse community." Our chalice keeper today is Trish Schwartzberg. We invite those of you joining us on Zoom to light your candles at home. The chalice.
We light this chalice as a symbol of the light within every human heart. May our individual sparks meet and merge, bringing both light and warmth to the world.
Our opening words this morning come from Bran Lennox. We have chosen to bring ourselves here to this sanctuary to gather as a community of faith. We join together in solidarity as a covenanted people who are drawn together by the promise of connection and the mysterious pull of the unanswerable. We draw on experiences of love and wonder to lift our hearts and move us beyond the mundane. As seekers, wanderers, appreciators of nature, connoisseurs of curiosity, and creators of connection, our paths have converged today so that we might become present to the spirit that is worship. And so, let us worship together. If you would please rise and lift your voice in song with me for our opening hymn, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire.
A gift to all inspire, and have not love, my words are vain, and sounding brass, and hopeless gain. Though I may speak all I possess, and striving so may love profess, and not speak again by love within. The prophets soon turn strangely thin. Come, Spirit, come, our hearts grown humble, our spirits long to be made whole. Let inward love guide every deed. By this we and are free.
Once every year or so, I like to retell the story of the creation of the flaming chalice, just to remind us all and for anybody who is new. And so today we have the story of the flaming chalice by Dan Hotchkiss. At the opening of Unitarian Universalist worship services, many congregations light a flame inside a chalice. This flaming chalice has become a well-known symbol of our denomination. It unites our members in worship and symbolizes the spirit of our faith and our work. The flaming chalice combines two archetypes, a drinking vessel and a flame, and as a religious symbol has different meanings to different beholders. Chalices, cups, and flagons can be found worldwide on ancient manuscripts and altars. The chalice used by Jesus at the Last Supper was a chalice and became the Holy Grail sought by the Knights of Wales and England. Jan Hus, Czech priest and forerunner of the Reformation, was burned at the stake for proposing, among other things, that the communion chalice be shared with the laity. More recently, feminist writer Riane Eisler has used the chalice as a symbol of the partnership way of being in community. Sharing, generosity, sustenance, and love are some of the meanings symbolized by the chalice. As a sacrificial fire, flame has been the central image for the world's oldest scriptures, the Vedic hymns of India. Today, lights shine on Christmas and Hanukkah. Eternal flames stand watch at monuments and tombs, and candles flicker in cathedrals, temples, mosques, and meeting houses. A flame can symbolize witness, sacrifice, testing, courage, and illumination. The chalice and the flame were brought together as a Unitarian symbol by an Austrian artist, Hans Deutsch, in 1941. Living in Paris during the 1930s, Deutsch drew critical cartoons of Adolf Hitler. When the Nazis invaded Paris in 1940, he abandoned all he had and fled to the south of France, then to Spain, and finally, with an altered passport, to Portugal. There, he met the Reverend Charles Joy, executive director of the Unitarian Service Committee, the USC. The Service Committee was new, founded in Boston to assist Eastern Europeans, among them Unitarians as well as Jews, who needed to escape Nazi persecution. From his Lisbon headquarters, Joy oversaw a secret network of couriers and agents. Deutsch was most impressed and soon began working for the USC. He later wrote to Joy, "There is something that urges me to tell you how much I admire your utter self-denial and readiness to serve, to sacrifice all, your time, your health, your well-being, to help, help, help. I am not what you may actually call a believer, but if your kind of life is the profession of your faith, as it is, I feel sure, then religion, ceasing to be magic and mysticism, becomes confession to practical philosophy and, what is more, to active, really useful social work. And this religion, with or without a heading, is one to which even a godless fellow like myself can say wholeheartedly, yes." The USC was an unknown organization in 1941. This was a special challenge in the cloak and dagger world where establishing trust quickly across barriers of language, nationality, and faith could mean life instead of death. Disguises, signs, and countersigns, and midnight runs across guarded borders were the means of freedom in those days. Joy asked Deutsch to create a symbol for their papers, to make them look official, to give dignity and importance to them, and at the same time, to symbolize the spirit of our work. When a document may keep a man out of jail, give him standing with governments and police, it is important that it look important. Thus, Hans Deutsch made his lasting contribution to the USC and, as it turns out, to Unitarian Universalism. With pencil and ink, he drew a chalice with a flame. It was, Joy wrote his board in Boston, a chalice with a flame, the kind of chalice that the Greeks and Romans put on their altars. The holy oil burning in it is a symbol of helpfulness and sacrifice. This was in the mind of the artist. The fact, however, that it remotely suggests a cross was not in his mind, but to me it also has its merit. We do not limit our work to Christians. Indeed, at the present moment, our work is 9/10 for the Jews, yet we do stem from the Christian tradition, and the cross does symbolize Christianity and its central theme of sacrificial love. The flaming chalice design was made into a seal for papers and a badge for agents moving refugees to freedom. In time, it became a symbol of Unitarian Universalism all around the world. The story of Hans Deutsch reminds us that the symbol of a flaming chalice stood in the beginning for a life of service. When Deutsch designed the flaming chalice, he had never seen a Unitarian or Universalist church or heard a hymn or sermon. What he had seen was faith in action, people who were willing to risk all for others in a time of urgent need. Today, the flaming chalice is the official symbol of the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee and the Unitarian Universalist Association. Officially or unofficially, it functions as a logo for hundreds of congregations. Perhaps most importantly, it has become a focal point for worship. No one meeting or interpretation is official. The flaming chalice like our faith, stands open to receive new truths that pass the tests of reason, justice, and compassion. Now, as we move deeper into our service, let us turn inward to consider transitions, the joys, sorrows, and concerns that we all experience in our life's journeys. Before we begin our ritual, I wanted to share a former member of this congregation, Bevington, Bev Wentz, passed away yesterday afternoon. There will be a memorial service on Tuesday afternoon at 2 o'clock at Lakeview Terrace for anyone who is interested, and I will have Nancy send out the information later today. Now there are 3 bowls of stones of different colors representing the gratitude of joy, the grief of sorrow, and whatever feeling you're having related to concerns. After those present have placed stones in the water, our ushers will place stones from each of the bowls into the water on behalf of those who are not present in the church and those who have chosen not to or who are unable to come forward. Those online are invited to type into the chat to express what is in your heart. When all the stones have been mingled in the water, we will take a moment for silent meditation or prayer. You may now come forward. Let us take a moment now to reflect on our own joys, concerns, and sorrows, and those of others in this beloved community. The chimes will bring us back into this space, and we will then sing our responsive hymn this month, Spirit of Life, for which you may remain seated.
We will now receive our offering. If you are visiting us for the first time, please do not feel obligated to give. You are our guest, and we are happy to have you here with us today. This is the time in our service when those who wish to make some monetary contribution to our congregation's vision and mission give to support this community and its outreach. I invite the ushers to come forward.
Every week, I am just amazed at the breadth of sounds that organ can make. Thank you for that, Tom. So today, I am doing one of our question box services where you ask me questions. I have not received any yet, so I am hoping really hard that you have questions right now, or I'm going to have to ask you some questions.
You have the mic maybe to warm things up. But as you're talking about the chalice and its history, which is always refreshing to hear, but it dawned on me about the light, about birthday candles. And so what is that? It definitely has symbolism, and if you blow them out on a birthday, like it's extinguishing, but you wish good luck. So how does that, is there any connection?
Calvin, do you have an answer? Is that what you're offering? Calvin has an answer, which is good because I don't.
I don't have a Unitarian answer at this point, but it was originally a pagan ritual. So it's celebrating the new year. You're wishing. You're basically casting a spell for your next year. And it's true, if you tell your wish, it's not going to come true.
And fire is an element that's required for pagan rituals, so that makes
Right,
sense.
and even our Christian rituals come from pagan, so it's
A lot of them, yes. Okay, Nancy, you had no. Did you have your hand up? Okay. And Richard, was there another hand that I saw? I'm manifesting them. Yes.
All right. Today, I want to ask you a question about labels.
Okay.
I'm very proudly labeled as a Georgia Bulldog, not only a graduate 3 times from the university, but a fan. However, I know sometimes labels can be have a very negative connotation. Mm-hmm. And I also realize that sometimes when we don't understand the label, it becomes even more negative to a lot of individuals. So could you please explain to us the term neurodivergent?
Neurodivergent, sure. I don't know when the term, like who coined it or anything like that, but I feel like it really started gaining some traction in the late 2010s. And I started hearing it more then. Neurodivergent is an umbrella label that includes people who are not what are called neurotypical people. So neurodivergent people can include a whole spectrum of people with various diagnoses, including PTSD, CPTSD, which is chronic PTSD, or complex PTSD, people with attention deficit disorder or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, autism along the spectrum, which autism itself has been sort of re-envisioned for the DSM at least, into different categories. Schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, dyslexia and dysgraphia. There are other diagnoses that might fall under the term. And so neurodivergent is just a way for people to talk about the fact that, at least in terms of how our society operates today, we have disabilities. I am a neurodivergent person. And depression can actually also fall under the category. It's a way of being able to express to people that our brains are literally wired differently than a neurotypical brain. And some of us, as we heal through our journeys, find that to be a superpower, but it can also be complex at times. Did that answer the question? Was there more?
Having worked with neurodivergent students, I immediately understand there's a different, I don't even want to say a different way. I'm just more aware of eye contact and behaviors, and I address those in ways that are, I don't even want to say different. I guess my bottom line is, I think if everyone treated everyone as being a unique individual who deserves your time and your patience and your understanding, then there wouldn't be a need for labeling neurodivergent individuals. Does that make any sense at all?
Yeah. There are pros and cons to labels, right? I mean,
exactly.
Sometimes it's really helpful, and sometimes it can be used as a weapon against other people, which is obviously not the thing that we're going for. We want it to be a way that helps us understand how best to serve or to be in relationship with other people. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Richard had his hand up. And then Gretchen and Nancy, or Cindy? Okay.
I'm just curious as to how the church acquired this beautiful piece of land with the meadow and everything.
Oh, that is an answer for somebody else.
I would turn it to Joyce.
Joyce is our resident.
It's on the website, read the history.
Official history person.
That's very true. One of our former members was tasked with that, and he lived in the villages at the time, and he located this space. So this land, getting into the villages at that time, as it is today, would have been astronomically expensive for a small congregation, as we were at that time, between 24 and 36 members. And so he found the space. We went ahead and bought it, sold our other building, and met at the recreation room in a park in Bellevue weekly at $8 a week. So we were able to save quite a bit. Then when we almost doubled our membership to close to 80, we moved to the Elks Lodge, which is now closed, but it was on Route 25 in Bellevue. And we held our RE classes in the back of that building, which at that time was the bar for the building.
Oh, and Joyce, don't forget that the elk was hanging over the pulpit.
Yes, there was an elk hanging over the the stage area and that building. And so when two members designed a flag for us to take to our banner, for us to take to GA, when members attended, they sewed a little elk in the corner of that banner. I think it may hang in the conference room.
Thank you, Joyce.
And the land he was talking about behind Melody Meadows, that's a separate issue. And yeah, I think you can read about that on the website under our history. And Nancy Sloberg may be able to address it also.
And for people who don't know, who may be new, our property, there's a hedgerow back here. Our property extends beyond that. There's a small gap of land in there, and that is what we refer to as Melody Meadows. We have a gopher tortoise who lives there. Liz, I'm making you happy by mentioning unity, right? Ken.
I believe that everybody that's neurodivergent, they have drawbacks, but they also have really special gifts. And I believe one of your many gifts is I see you at your laptop, and I'm like, oh, she's working on sermon stuff. And then I see your sermons, I'm like, how did she do that? Every quote, every passage fits together perfectly. And I make videos for the congregation, like how to, and just some insider information. She'll tell me, like, that script for the video you're doing is horrible, you've got to fix it. And I don't even, ego doesn't come into it, I don't even question it. I fix the script or have her fix it. So my question is, do you ever get stumped? Are you ever like, I can't fit these pieces together?
Yes, that does happen. Usually it just means that I have to spend more time with figuring out how to weave them into something, but yeah, that does happen. And part of my writing process is staring out the window a lot. Anybody who writes is probably familiar with it. And so, yeah, walking has also been helpful, although in this heat it's really challenging. But walking and looking out the window are usually helpful tools. And sometimes it just means it's not meant to be. But if I spend enough time with things, I usually find a way to weave them together. Various elements. Okay, we have people online, and Mary, and we also had Gretchen and Cindy, so I don't want to forget them. And then we'll come back. Okay, Gretchen.
I hope you can hear me, my scratchy voice. Something that has always troubled me. We believe in one of the original principles in the inherent worth and dignity of every person. How do we do that with someone who is truly evil?
Yeah, yes, that's a great question. And we all know that I consume pretty large amounts of media, and I just started watching The Walking Dead, and a couple of weeks ago, and I'm at a place where I'm pondering that question myself. So one way that we normally parse the inherent worth and dignity of every person is by saying that in our personhood, in our embodiment, we all have inherent worth and dignity, but we separate out our behaviors. And so people in their own personhood may have inherent worth and dignity, but their behaviors may not reflect that inherent worth and dignity. And also going to our seventh principle, that interconnected web of which we are all a part. So that's probably one way that I would start to explore answering that question, but I feel like that one needs a whole service. Thank you for the question. All right, Cindy.
Speaking of whole services, I was really intrigued last week when you were talking about youth and how the General Assembly is now assembling a committee, which is something we do really well, a task force committee, in order to figure out how to bring youth back to our congregations, And, part of it, of course, is marketing, going out there, but a big, big part of it is making the soil of our congregations nurturing places for younger people, because we do occasionally, even here, get younger people, but how do we make a place like this a nurturing environment for, and it goes even with neurodivergency for all kinds of people, including people who are not necessarily in the demographic that we often see.
Dale, do you have an answer? Okay. Okay. Yeah, so I will say one of the things that I think is going to be a challenge, a bit of a hurdle for this congregation is the 9 o'clock hour. I know it is a challenge for some of you too. I know. But I do think that is part of it. And part of it is younger people. So there's a few things that are going on, I think. But we actually talked about this a little the other day, and it is something I've been noodling on. So one of the things that has been reported on by at least a couple of outlets is that folks who are Generation Z are interested in attending church, but they're highly skeptical of attending congregations, being parts of congregations, being parts of churches, because of great affinity for Trump. And so they don't necessarily know to look for congregations that don't support the current president. So that's one thing. Another thing that is complicated is that very rudely at our last joint board meeting, Igor pointed out that I was midlife now, which is I just looked at him with aghast. But people who are more in my age range and younger, there's a lot of other things that are going on, including complexity regarding work and home and a lot of other things. But work is definitely a big thing. I will say, before I landed in ministry, I worked in a number of different jobs. My sister actually was really steady. She's still at the same place. She is, I feel like, a great exception to the trends that we see of people who are in even Gen X, millennials, and younger, where there's a lot of turnover. We're constantly leaving our positions because we're getting treated like trash. We get treated like we're expendable, and so we say, peace out, y'all, because we can, right? It's like the job's treating us like we're expendable, so why would we stay and support that? And so there's a lot of turnover in different positions. I worked in a number of positions myself, and my dad, bless him, he worked for one company, retired from the same company. He worked at a few different companies when he was younger, but he retired from one company after more than 30 years. And he had so much trouble understanding what I was going through because it did not make sense to him from the world that he had lived in. And the world is just different. And so one of the things that is really helpful for supporting younger people is they're looking for belonging, they're looking for community, which this congregation is going to have in spades. The one thing that I would say that would be helpful to pay attention to is how we can support people. Also, people in this age group are sort of what's called the sandwich generation, where people are supporting not only their children and sometimes grandchildren and others, but also their parents and elders. So there's just a lot of things that are going on, and it gets hard. And so one of the things that's really important is that people who are looking for that sense of belonging and community and feeling like they're seen and supported in those struggles when they arrive. So that would be the thing that I would focus on. Okay, I know Dale had his hand up, but Helene, there's somebody online, and then Mary and Did you have your hand? Okay. We'll start there. Online. Helene. Oh, she needs the mic. Whew.
Somebody online asked, what do you believe about a creator being?
One of my favorite questions, because the answer is it depends. Which I say a lot when people ask, what do you believe about? And I'm like, well, it depends. It depends. Some people believe in a creator being. Some people absolutely do not, probably everywhere in between. We certainly have Hindu Unitarian Universalists who may believe in a sort of pantheon of gods that created the universe. So it depends. And for fun, there's no right answer. Mary. And then Dale.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Could you explain the difference between religion and spirituality? And are they interchangeable? And how does that fit in with, we don't have to think alike to love alike principle?
Starting with the middle question, they are not interchangeable as far as I'm concerned. My easiest, simplest answer for spirituality versus religion is spirituality is what you do, and religion is what you do with other people. That's the core for me. How does that fit into we need not think alike to love alike? Which is not my favorite quote, but I would say it really speaks mostly to the religion, although Unitarian Universalists usually have at least one opinion about everything. Sometimes we have more than one, if you know what I mean. So being in relationship with others is that, we don't have to have the same thoughts about things to be holding love at the center, language that we're trying to use these days, and in our relationships with one another. Is that kinda? Is there more? Do you want to ask more? Wait, Andrea, wait.
Yes, I'm waiting. Would you have the mic?
I think when people talk about religion, if somebody asks, what religion are you? They ask because when you give that answer, it gives them some idea of what your belief system is. So, it seems like, but maybe there are two different definitions of religion. Like you said, one in theory, one in practice, and what you do with other people. I just kind of question whether or not religion is a correct label when everyone has different beliefs. So is that making sense?
Yeah, so why is Unitarian Universalism a religion?
Yes, thank you.
Yes. So, we got asked this question at the New to UU class in the springtime, and I got really up in my stuff, I guess, about it. So one of the things about Unitarian Universalism is that we don't all think the same things. We don't have one source text. We don't have one God that we believe in. We don't have the things that a lot of other things that are named religion have. And so people wonder about what that makes us. And it's probably one of the reasons that people refer to us as a cult and all that kind of stuff. But I wrote about this in one of my columns about what defines a religion. But, one of the things that really struck me about the idea is that part of what religion does is pass down traditions and stories and questions of importance that are eternal, that we pass from generation to generation. And honestly, one of the things that I would say is a hallmark of being a religion is that we ordain clergy, right? We've come together and made a decision, not you specifically, but well, I mean, you as a congregation, you have ordained ministers. Other congregations ordained me. That the congregations came together and made a decision that this person is meant to minister to us, right? And then we send them out into the world and hopefully they minister other places and do a good job. But we have made that decision as a people, and to ordain clergy is a very specific thing, right? And in our denomination, I don't know that other faiths do this, but in our faith tradition, congregations are the only body that can ordain a minister, right? Like I have to go and I had to interview and like do all this stuff to become a minister, go to seminary, I had to do an internship, I had to do clinical pastoral education, I had to do like all these different things. But the only body in our faith that can ordain a minister is the congregation. And so, yeah. I mean, there are other hallmarks, and if I had time, I would look up the thing that I wrote. It was really good about it. But I wrote about it in the springtime. It was May, June, April, I don't know. But it was in my Welcome to Unitarian Universalism in the newsletters, so it should be on the website. And if I remember, I will send it to you later. Helene and Dale. Dale first, then Helene. And back to Richard.
Well, I can't really pronounce the label that you were talking about, but I will tell you that I've got a piece of every bit of it. Okay?
Neurodivergence?
Yeah, I've got it. Yeah, I've got that seed. Also on the other side of that, the people that don't have it, I've got some of those too. And I'm not really proud to tell you this, but I've rubbed shoulders with millionaires and I've lived among the homeless. And I have a way of being able to see the joy and the good of people, and I'm proud of my past from that, even though it didn't serve a lot of other people well. I made amends best I could, and I came from the Unity Church. And I came here not because I wanted to, but because I followed my lovely wife. She went to the Unitarian Universalist Church in Louisville, and I didn't get a lot out of that, but I do here. And but the reason why I stayed and the reason why I joined it is because I kind of looked around and realized all these people are accepting me for all my little quinks and quirks, and because I'm accepted with all my wrinkles, I feel the least I can do is accept everybody else's. And as far as the evil thing goes, when I sense evil, I distance myself. And I do that for self-preservation purposes, because every time I've got too close, somehow or another, I got burned. And it takes my joy. And when you don't have joy, you can't give it.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah. Thank you, Dale. Helene. And then Richard. Oh, Helen.
When you were talking about religion and spirituality a few minutes ago, one of the things that popped in my head is one difference between us and some other religions, if you want to call it, is that number one, nobody from a pie tells Reverend Kristina what she needs to talk about. Okay, that's one thing. And the other thing is we, as a congregation, have the right and responsibility. If she's talking about something that doesn't fit for us, we can within ourselves say, hey, she's not God, or she doesn't necessarily have the word of God, that if it doesn't fit for me, you don't have to take what she's saying as the truth with a capital T.
Thank you. That's given me, since we're still on the subject, I looked it up. So part of what I wrote in that piece that's welcome to Unitarian Universalism. Religion is what happens in our coming together. It is communal. It is the texts, rituals, beliefs that hold people together. Religion lasts beyond a lifetime, passes wisdom through generations, provides a framework for morals and ethics, and shapes our worldviews. It's a brief definition, but which I think works for a quirky faith like us. Richard.
Regarding the viewing of the demographics of the congregations, a question and a comment. Is the demographic of the Eustis congregation similar? And also, when I visit the Gainesville UU, they have a definitely younger congregation and they have childcare. I think it might be largely because it's a university town and we're a retirement town. So.
Yes, the Eustis congregation does have a pretty similar demographic, really similar demographic. And yes, some of it is that it's a university town. I think some of it is also, how congregations are marketed. And I think there's a natural impulse in this area for a variety of reasons that we skew older, including, like we've got snowbirds that come to the both congregations, and clearly people who are working are not snowbirds. And so I think there's just a natural sort of inclination toward older for this geography, but the demographics of this geography are changing a lot. And so I think there's really an opportunity for potential growth.
It just occurred to me also that Gainesville is a blue spot in a red state, and that may have affected it.
Yeah. It's a really lovely congregation. I've only been there a couple times, but it's multi-generational and multiracial more than some of our other congregations. And I always feel good when I go there. Yeah. Oh, I love it here. But I'm allowed to feel good when I go to other UU congregations. I hope I do. Helen.
Good morning. Oh, I feel like we've come full circle when I was listening to the divergency comment.
Yeah, I think this is the last one.
Okay,
looking at the time.
Succinct. The reason for recognizing labels in any form is often to receive services. There's some guidelines around it. So that's been my experience in the past. But I'm thinking about the comfort level of what drew me to UU as a young person, one of those college students. The key is where we feel comfortable. And the whole concept of divergency, whether neurologically or intellectually or emotionally, is what centers around UU for me. This conversation would not happen in other religions or other conversations. I've spoken to many people who are part of other religious communities, and they never speak to the person other than where they have a 5-second thing of say hello to your neighbor. That's the extent of it. So for me, that's the heart center. That piece about evil, I just finished reading a book by a relative of someone that concerns me in our leadership. And it reminded me that we have to always look at where the person came from innately and what basically formed their life perception. Doesn't mean we have to accept it. It doesn't make it any better, but it helps us to understand that there's a person in there, no matter how we perceive them. So I'm grateful for this community and grateful for you having this open forum. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Helen. All right. And it is time. Thank you all for the questions. I actually wrote some of them down so I can follow up on them. And if you would please join me and rise in body or in spirit and lift your voice in song with me for our closing hymn, We Laugh, We Cry.
I would just like to make a comment. Nancy and I are up here on the suggestion of Diane Carlin. This is a sing-along. We want audience participation. Congregation knows this song maybe a little bit better than the first one, so please sing out. There's no wrong notes. We don't care. We're just up here. Thank you.
Trish Schwartzberg will read our chalice extinguishing message.
We extinguish this chalice with the words of Amy Zucker Morgenstern. As we leave this hallowed place, may our feet remember its feel, so that wherever we walk, we know ourselves to be on hallowed ground. May we know that we are kin with every soul, every star, every stone and leaf of grass, and may our words be gentle and our touch be kind. Blessed be.
I invite anyone who has just begun to visit with us and who wishes to do so to introduce themselves. Please raise your hand and an usher will bring a microphone to you. Please speak directly into the top of the microphone so that we can all hear. Okay, good.
I want to introduce my very shy friend Pam, who said I would do it, but I don't know what to say. I met Pam through a walking group that I do at the villages, and because we continued our conversations at a Panera afterwards, I found out that Pam also has a UU background, and she wanted to come and visit us. So I'm so glad that we were able to talk one-on-one rather than in a group to make sure that we were good people. You want to say anything? No. No? Okay, all right.
Welcome. We're interested to hear how you experienced this hybrid worship service and/or what you took away from the sermon. So if you have a comment to make, we have time for maybe two. If you raise your hand, Reverend Kristina will respond.
I just wanted to say my background in churches and groups and clubs, etc. Every time in this congregation, when they ask people to stand up and make comments or have questions, there's something inside of me that gets really nervous. I'm like, they're going to start fighting. They're all going to start fighting. They're all going to start hating on each other. And the fact that that doesn't happen here over and over and over again is really healing for me, and I really appreciate it.
Reverend Kristina, I just want to say thank you. I can just imagine how uneasy it must be to stand here and have all of these questions that you have no idea what's going to come your way and how eloquently you know how to address each of us just off the top of your head. So that lets me know how just amazing you are as a human being and all of the wealth of knowledge and passion that you have inside. So thank you for sharing yourself with us.
Thank you, Nancy. Yeah, so I used to be more nervous about doing these, but my last congregation, Tarpon Springs, the people who were on the search committee told me in a meeting one time that their favorite part of interviewing me was when they just asked me random questions and I answered them. And so I got the idea to start doing these services. So I'm glad that you find them meaningful as well. I had closing words planned, but I was thinking during the service, so I'm going to leave you with this, that back in the late aughts, the Unitarian Universalist Association ran I think it was like 4-time advertising campaign in Time magazine about to encourage people to consider our faith. I don't know that it was super helpful, but it was interesting, at least for us. And one of the weeks or months that they did the campaign, the thing that was on their page was Unitarian Universalism, where all your answers are questioned.
Please join us for coffee and fellowship in the back of the room until 11 a.m. There is a sign-up sheet on the table near the bookshelves to coordinate with others who like to go out for brunch. We share our minister with our sibling congregation in Eustis, where she will lead a second service. So Reverend Kristina will be here until 10:20-ish. Remember that this clock doesn't work right. If you'd like to talk to her, come and say hi. The Zoom room will stay open for 20 minutes. Thank you.